Welcome back to the Otaku Clubhouse podcast, the first one of President Trump's America. I am your host, Felix, aka Incognito, and joined as always by my friends Akuma Soul and Hawkeyes the Final Brave.
Anything to say? Hawkeyes are the final brave.
Why you gotta use my full name, man? Like, this ain't no job
Is
application.
that what it says on your birth certificate?
It says Hawkeyes are the final brave Johnson.
Oh.
Where does the Johnson come from? Pause.
Wait.
Anyways, let's talk about while we're celebrating the God Emperor's inauguration. We should talk about the other series that has, lords, nobles, magic, dragons, of course, evil. The Fire Emblem. Now, the Fire Emblem Direct happened this last week, and I watched it, and it really seemed like they were really pushing Fire Emblem Heroes, the mobile game. 4 games were talked about. Fire Emblem Heroes, which is a phone game, the first ever Fire Emblem phone game. They make a big deal of that. Fire Emblem Warriors, of course, which was announced at the Switch event, which is the Musou game with Fire Emblem characters. A new Fire Emblem game for the Switch, which they didn't say very much about. They just said it exists. We don't know what the title is. We don't know anything about it. It just they plan to release it in 2018, so realistically 2019. And the last one was it sounded so familiar. It was Fire Emblem, a Gaiden, a remake for the 3DS. Apparently they're almost done with it. Was it?
Yes, it was in fact Echoes.
Echoes. It's a remake of a Japan-only Fire Emblem game, which, if you're American, you think Fire Emblem started on the Game Boy Advance. That's not a bad thing to think.
Well, I would assume that most fans thought it started on the fucking 3DS.
Oh, you're right. It started with Lucina and Chrom. But just like Lucina, I think the Direct was pretty flat in terms of content. They focused entirely too much, in my opinion, they focused too much on the phone game, Fire Emblem Heroes.
Well, that's because they don't have shit to show. Like, what the fuck? They have, what? They just came out with Fates, right? So, of course, the next 3DS game ain't gonna be out for a while. The Switch, that's definitely not gonna be out for a while.
I mean, the Fire Emblem Echoes is gonna be out relatively soon, so they did dedicate. Like, I'm not gonna hate on the amount of time they dedicated towards it because it was a good chunk. They showed gameplay, they showed characters, they showed stories. So it's not so much that they didn't show more of that. They didn't show more of the Switch one, like what they usually do when they announce a new Fire Emblem, right? They fucking talk about the lore a little bit or give the premise or whatever, or maybe they'll give a concept only trailer. They didn't do that. And for Fire Emblem Warriors, they just show like a brief 15-second gameplay of Chrom beating up a bunch of jobbers, which it really doesn't look any more impressive than it did when Koei showed Link beating up a bunch of jobbers when they first announced Hyrule Warriors. So
What? That's a real fucking shame because I think Nintendo could have their own character action game with Fire Emblem, which could be really fucking cool, but instead they want to just do this cheap shit with fucking
the easy way
Dynasty Warriors.
Another thing is, I don't think it will be like a particularly phenomenal Dynasty Warriors type game. It won't be like a Sengoku Pasara 3 or anything, because they announced at the Direct that they're also making it for the 3DS. So it's gonna be just like Hyrule War. The game has to be simplistic enough to run on the 3DS. Then it's not gonna have any like advanced systems or whatever. Complex AI. Yeah. Like
Well,
Smash Brothers.
that's questionable because number one, I've never really seen a Musou game with advanced AI. And secondly, it's like the the Wii U port, well, no, the Wii U version of Hyrule Warriors was played without any problems. Still played fine. It's really the fact that the 3DS version, much like they should have, they relegated this version to only the new 3DS and not the old one.
Yeah, I mean that's a little bit of a step up. Maybe they'll go. Maybe they'll have more enemies on screen. I saw some gameplay for Hyrule Warriors on the original 3DS, and it just looked like, yeah, why did you buy this version of the game? You really wanted to play as fucking Tetra?
Well, there's nothing wrong with Tetra. Tetra's cool. But the real question is, did you want to play as the King of the Lions?
Of course.
That was the character that everybody wanted.
But yeah, the direct was narrated entirely by everybody's favorite voice actor, Yuri Lowenthal. He phoned it in as usual. But, I mean, that's enough of that. I'm sure anybody else who watched it, you have the same amount of information as us, and you probably have the same opinion as us. Spent too much time on the phone game. That being said, what do you think the Fire Emblem Heroes will actually sell well when it comes out?
Of course, Nintendo's will eat it up. Let's ask our resident Nintendo, Akuma, what are you gonna do about this new Fire Emblem phone game?
Well, I'm gonna buy it without question, because among all of the mobile titles that they've released so far, this looks like the most game. I honestly feel that Super Mario Run is the absolute worst one. It requires more attention than, say, Pokemon Go, but it also seems like it's less overall fun than Pokemon Go. Because at least with Pokemon Go, you always had the possibility of walking around and stumbling across a dead body. With Super Mario Run, the worst you can get is a thumb cramp. So
with one button.
While
we're on the topic of Nintendo, we should also talk about Breath of the Wild. Well, a weird thing came out recently, just today or just yesterday, actually, as of this recording, is that Breath of the Wild won't have dual audio, even though the game does launch with all the audio, all the different audio. What am I thinking of?
Audio
files. Yes, I'm thinking of the word files. It's gonna have all the different languages, but they're relegated to like your Switch's system settings. So if you buy the game, the Switch is region free, so you can buy the game from any region, but the audio in the interface, the language will change depending on your Switch's language. So technically, you can play the game in Japanese, but all the text will be in Japanese. You won't be. And this is such a weird thing. Like, why wouldn't they go the extra mile and just what?
That's actually weird. I didn't think about that until just now. Does it have subtitles?
No. I mean, no, it does have subtitles.
So then, would the subtitles change as well?
Yes, if you change your Switch settings to Japanese, for example, because you want to hear the good Zelda crying and not the not the English.
Well, according
then everything
to what I
will
hear,
be in Japanese.
According to what I hear, everybody's very upset by all their different cryings. Like, even the Japanese are kind of upset about the way that Zelda cries.
Well, they're crazy. I mean, the one thing that people can universally agree on is that the English crying was the weakest of the different dubs. But as I was saying, it's like so weird for them to go through the trouble of putting all the different audio on the game and have it available to Switch like that. Let's see. But but they didn't just do the extra little coding to make it so that you can have English subtitles with different voices.
Are you expecting Nintendo games to have options?
I honestly, I mean, it's the current year and all, and I would hate to compare Nintendo to other companies, but Western game developers have been doing this for years. The games come with. See, this is what like my rebuttal to anybody who defends dual audio or Japanese games not having dual audio is that Western game companies have been doing this shit for years. You can buy the game, switch the audio into multiple languages, not just English and Japanese, and you can still have the English subtitles. So, what makes it so difficult for not even small companies in Japan, big companies like Nintendo, Atlas, Capcom, Sega? What's so tough about getting the dual audio? Like, honestly.
I would assume that you have to pay the voice actors in Japan
Yes, you do.
if you make dual audio. Maybe that's it. They're just being
But
fucking cheap. I don't know.
again, like,
Well, ultimately, it's a weird thing where it's like, when it comes to, I know as far as the Tales series, Namco for a long time tried to, didn't have dual audio. They didn't start having dual audio, I believe, until maybe Zestiria. But the thing is, it's like, if they're going to just swap it over, at least this is what I'm understanding from their mindset, if they're just going to swap it over, why would we even do an English dub?
I mean, it's just for people to have the option. Some people prefer English dub, and some people are weeaboos. And appeasing to the weeaboo base is a very good business practice because they'll remain loyal to you. At least in practice, anyways. But if we were talking about loyalty towards the fans, let's talk about the Power Rangers movie trailer, the latest
Next.
one. The next, yeah, let's skip that topic. No, let's talk.
It's
Let's
fucking
briefly
garbage,
talk. Yeah,
dude.
it's garbage.
It's so like the fucking suits look awful. The story is it's modern, extreme quotations on that. Fucking, it's another one of those movies where the actors want their fucking faces to be seen. So when they're in the Zords, their fucking faces just out there. And it's so fucking stupid.
Let me ask
And
you
I'm not
something.
even really.
Would you rather have this Power Rangers movie in this current incarnation, or like that one Power Rangers fan film to be a full-length thing?
Neither. Both of them were shit in their own
You
way.
know, you don't get to pick a third option, like either or. Like you had to choose between those two.
It's like choosing between like shit and piss. Like both of them you don't want. I mean, at least like you can see that this vaguely resembles some sort of Power Rangers, but it's still fucking awful. And the fucking song they used for the trailer, get out of here, dude. They had one job. They could at least had the fucking song playing, the theme song from Mighty Morphin playing. But no, they have some fucking Kanye West song. Get out of here.
Well, like, they can't get that original guy who made the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers soundtrack. One, because all of his songs sound the same. Two, because he's just probably dead. Or probably doesn't want to fucking associate with Saban at all.
I'm sure they still have the rights to the fucking song, though.
Yeah, but, I mean, why would you use the same song? Like, they've made Power Rangers
Because
movies
it's
before.
Yeah, but this... Holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
I
What?
completely forgot.
You forgot? You forgot about that
completely
nigga Ivan Ooze?
Yeah.
You forgot
I-
about Power Rangers Go Turbo?
No, actually, I've never seen that one.
Oh.
I only saw the one from Mighty Morphin.
It was weird and had fucking No, let me not bring that up because that will just bring up fart fetishes. No.
It's, I mean, because if you watch a lot of tokusatsu stuff, like Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, what Power Rangers based off of, that movie isn't really a fucking new thing, and it's like all the same fucking continuity for the movies that they have. This is just some fucking Hollywood peak of the fucking 90s nostalgia cash in era.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I don't think it has any fucking heart to it. I think it's just made to appeal to the base common denominator. Just somebody who just watched Power Rangers as a kid. They wouldn't call themselves a fucking fan nowadays of it.
I don't think
Oh
this
yeah,
is
dude, I
like.
remember that, man.
Yeah, that is the target demographic because I don't think this appeals to kids at all. Like, I don't know any kids, so I can't get a fucking I can't get a consensus on that. But this just seems like it's like a nostalgia movie instead of like a movie for a kids movie first, and then everything else secondly.
Well, from my understanding, Bryan Cranston, who's playing Zordon in this, by the way, actually came out and said that just from his experience so far, seems like the movie's actually doing pretty well.
Oh, of course he would say that. He's in the fucking film. He wants you
Is
to see
any
it.
fuck is any actor gonna shit on the movie before it comes out?
Even the
Just,
people
oh,
in
this movie
Suicide
sucks, dog shit.
Squad
I
were
hate
like,
this shit.
"Oh, this is
I don't
great."
even want to.
I don't know if you think about it. Lately, a lot of people have been coming out and shitting on movies that they don't think are actually going to be any good,
Yeah,
especially
after the
from the
fact.
DC camp.
After the movies come out, then they run their mouths. They're probably under NDA to say of saying anything like some kind of agreement not to say anything negative about the movie at all. And then after it comes out, then they say, "Oh well, there was a different cut of this movie, and it was fucking fantastic or whatever." Like trying to get the sales of the fucking director's cut DVD out. I'm just saying.
Well, they don't always do that. Sometimes, like in the DC camp, they'll start shit talking a movie before it actually comes out. It's been happening, especially lately. I mean, you heard about the Wonder Woman thing, right?
Well, that's not necessarily people who are in the film shit talking it. That's just people in the industry saying that there's potential problems with the film. And just like the Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman, I would imagine it's because they came up with a dark tone or just the incorrect tone for the movie, and they have to go back and reshoot it because they're like, oh, we can't have another flop. Which the Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad were not really financial flops. They're just critical flops. And even then, I still know people like who aren't critics. They're just like casual viewers or the audiences. They like the films. I don't know why. Shit taste, but the same thing will
Well, I
happen
mean,
with
as far
Wonder Woman.
the thing that we're actually talking about is on the Schmoes Knows podcast. Apparently somebody who was working on Wonder Woman came out and just said that it's holding all the same problems as Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, and they think it's gonna end up exactly the same. It's gonna be the same exact crap.
Was it one of the actors or?
One of the I'm assuming, I have no idea who it actually was, but they said it was somebody who worked on the movie, so it's probably like one of the cameramen or something.
Feel free to take it with a grain of salt.
Well, yeah, my point was that I don't think a fucking actor will ever just come out before a movie comes out and just say, "Don't waste your money on this shit. It's fucking garbage." The director doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, you heard about the World War Z thing that happened, right? So
No.
Brad Pitt, if I'm remembering, I'm pretty sure it was Brad Pitt in it, but apparently Brad Pitt and the director of World War Z had gotten into so many fights and disliked each other so much that they actually stopped talking to each other. That's the main star and the director. They stopped talking to each other directly. They would have to actually have people, they'd have to write notes and have people actually walk over and give the note to Brad Pitt instead of having the director talk directly to him.
That's petty.
Man, World War Z was it's another fucking film that shits all over the source material, but actually, I don't think it was that bad of a film. If you didn't know what the source material was, you just consider it as a zombie action movie. It's pretty good, and it's also another movie just like Batman vs. Suicide, or
Batman versus Suicide.
Batman vs. Superman.
Nice
The
little
extended
PSA.
director's cut is much better than the theatrical release. While we're on the subject of Hollywood, you guys see the Logan trailer? Second one.
I'm actually looking forward to this. This is the first Wolverine movie that I actually have some hope for.
I'll be honest. I think it's gonna be a good movie. It's gonna be the first good solo Wolverine movie. The Wolverine sucked and X-Men Origins Wolverine sucked, but this is gonna look pretty good.
X-Men, at least when it came to the Wolverine, it seemed more comic booky, even though the Silver Samurai was a giant robot and not a giant samurai.
I mean, the trailer looked okay. I think it's kind of silly, even though I'm not really a Marvel fan. But I do know that like Wolverine has like a healing factor, and he's like he ages really slow. Then they have Professor X being like in the movie, and like he was really old. When in the other movie,
he is Patrick Stewart. It is Patrick Stewart, and it's unfortunate from my understanding. It seems like it's just the fact that Patrick Stewart wants to work with Hugh Jackman at least one more time. But another piece of news that actually came out was the fact that Deadpool 2, it seems that it's going to be setting up X-Force. And I've read the Uncanny X-Force comics. You did as well, Hawkwing, right?
Yeah.
So you know that it'll probably be Deadpool, Wolverine, which they'll probably have a new Wolverine by the time they do X-Force. And who else is the? I guess it would be
Phantom X, Psylocke.
You mean Olivia Munn?
Fuck off.
And
Phantom X, Archangel, whatever his name is, Angel. What, the guy with the fucking wings?
Yeah, your boy Angel. Ain't that your boy, Hawkwing?
No, it's not. I hated that character.
A lot of people hated Angel. Angel's a piece of shit. But ultimately, I think the movie looks pretty good. They seem to have cast. Of course, I can't tell yet, just from the trailers. But they seem to have actually cast a child actor who's going to be able to act, which is probably the best. If I feel like that's going to be the crux of this movie, what's either going to pull it down or bring it up, is the fact that if the little girl playing X-23 can't act.
Oh, I was gonna say, from what I saw in the trailers, she's gonna be a shitty child actress.
I don't know.
I hope they underutilize her. Like, I hope they actually don't use her that much, because that's always a problem you have to look out for. Is just like children sometimes just fucking can't act. So you can use them; they can be seen, but they shouldn't be heard.
Well, I mean, that's the thing when it comes to X-23. She's not going to be very. She's never been very talkative, so I doubt she'd be talkative here.
That is, if they're respectful to the source material, which, based on the fact that Professor X is even there.
I mean, Fox is pretty questionable with their source material a lot of times, because sometimes you get stuff like Deadpool, but then sometimes you get things like Fant4stick.
And sometimes you get
Which
things like
one?
the Wolverine, and sometimes you get things
Fantastic, the one with Michael B. Jordan as Johnny
Oh,
Storm.
oh,
You know, I watched that movie, and it's really bad to say that he was the best part of that movie, because that whole movie was
like. Are you
terrible.
just saying that because he's, you know,
No, he's just
an
he's actually
actor?
a very yeah, he's actually a very good actor.
the
No,
only
he's
reason
a
he's saying
very
is
good
because he was in a fucking Rocky movie.
Yeah,
it was
We
a
all
really
know
good
these
movie.
these people.
these Philadelphians.
Are we allowed to say that? Did we just dox him?
Shh, shh.
Did he just get doxed?
No, Philadelphia isn't a real place.
Point is, Michael B. Jordan's actually a good actor. I don't know what the problem was with the guy who was playing Reed Richards. He's crap. The woman who played Susan Storm's supposed to be a good actress, but I don't watch House of Cards, so I can't speak for that. And Doctor Doom was just a shitty kid on the internet. Need I say more?
When you think about it, that's all Doom really is.
You know what Doom is now? He's Iron Man.
Huh?
What do you mean, huh? Doom
I
is
thought
Iron Man right
Riri
now.
was for Iron Man.
No, Doom is also Iron Man.
How can you both be Iron Man?
I don't know. They have 2 Wolverines. They have 2 Hulks. They have 2 Thors. They have 2
How can a woman
Spider-Mans.
be
They
Thor?
have 3 Captain Americas.
No, they have one Spider-Man and one Black Spider-Man.
But I don't want to be the Black
I
Spider-Man.
don't want to be the Black Spider-Man.
Even though I'm gonna be literally
Where's
the Black
Black?
Spider-Man.
Jeez. Oh, speaking of Black Spider-Man, Vine is officially dead.
What does Black Spider-Man have to do with Vine?
It has more
What?
to do with it than
Yes.
you think.
But yes, Vine is officially dead. Woo hoo. Thank you.
What do you mean? Thank you. I think Vine as a format was really good, and it allowed people who can't sit down and make like a fucking 10-minute long like skit or anything. They could just make some short shit that was kind of funny that you could just watch. Oh, that brightened up my day a little bit. It was. I don't see how it failed. I don't.
Well,
Well,
How
it's
did it
because
die?
It's much like with all of the other. It's much like with all of Twitter's other things.
it can't
They
make
don't make
money.
any. Twitter doesn't make
It's
any money.
successful, but
They don't make
it,
any
it
money.
can't make money for the company. So, but you know, luckily it's just been resurrected. And if you post a 6-second or lower, like they cut off a second, but if you post a 6-second or lower video on Twitter now, it automatically behaves like a Vine. So, Vine has been resurrection.
Resurrection.
Cheap. Ban this nigga, yo.
The main question is now that Vine has changed. One of the things was the Viners. I guess would be
Yeah,
the
Viners.
Viners, like a YouTuber but a Viner, whatever. The Viners were saying things like they wanted to get paid a specific amount and they would make a certain amount of content. But I wonder how ads are going to be run on
Oh,
these
they shot
Vines.
themselves in the foot. You can't make any money off of Twitter unless you're like sponsored by companies. So they shot themselves in the foot by trying to fucking strong arm Twitter and be like, "Oh, you pay us $1 million and we might promote whatever." Like, nah, nigga, you can't wrestle with these niggas.
Can't wrestle with these actual niggas on Vine.
But honestly, most of the popular Viners anyway got their careers launched off of fucking Vine. Like King Bach.
Like my boy King
Yeah,
Bot.
he's in Wild and Out Now. He's in movies. He was on shows. Melvin, no, not Melvin Gregg. I don't know about him. Who was? I don't remember the Viners' names. Actually, come to think of it, King Bach is the only success story.
What does he do now though? I have no idea.
He's just an actor
personally.
/ comedian thing.
An actor slash comedian
there's
thing.
a lot more of those than you think.
All I know is about the boy, the legend, the man, Eddie Murphy.
Who?
What? What does that have to do with
That's like a
anything we
fucking
just
30-year
said?
out of reference, yo. Or Eddie Murphy is irrelevant.
Shoot, if I have to. Shoot, if I was just walking and I was explaining Eddie Murphy to somebody and they were just like, I don't know who you're talking about, I think I'd have to stop talking to that person because they're clearly 12.
You mean Charlie Murphy?
I mean, what was the last movie that Eddie Murphy was in
One of the Shreks?
Ugh.
that you can remember?
I remember there was that one movie where if he lied, the leaves would fall off.
That doesn't sound familiar.
Oh wait, no. If he talked, then the tree's leaves would
Oh wait,
fall
that
off.
sounds familiar. You know Eddie Murphy is responsible for that movie Norbit?
No.
No.
Norbit.
No.
Norbit is lambasted as one of the worst movies to ever be released.
I thought it was
Hell
funny.
nah.
I did
Norbit
too.
is fucking thrash media.
I thought Norbit was hilarious. Like,
Oh
that
my
shit
God.
had me dying.
You know, it's only black people who say that. That has to say something. I might look into that later. Let's move on. So, there's a possibility that EA will not have a conference at E3 this year.
What the fucking do? Everybody wants to be special. First Nintendo and now EA, huh? Fuck off.
Well, no, the thing is, all the companies are starting to move towards this, and to be honest, I kind of feel it's okay, because when it comes to all these companies and doing all these separate events, it means the fact that we don't have to wait for everybody to go up into the fucking we have to wait until June to get any announcements, and then when we get these announcements, it's some dude and he's like, check out how great this game looks, and then, oh wait, my controller isn't working. Shoot, somebody, where's the batteries? Where's the batteries?
Get on stage
Yeah, but I
and say
like
like, we're here at Electronic Arts to have a lot of sports games, and they show FIFA and they show Madden and they show NBA, blah blah blah. Then somebody comes on and like, yeah, now we have Battlefield or whatever, and yeah, like Akuma said, it doesn't fucking work. Fucking crashes while they're trying to demonstrate it.
Or they're running through and something like, it's EA, right? So it's EA has Titanfall, right?
Titanfall 2, yeah.
Yeah, so they're just running through in Titanfall and they're just sprinting the whole way. They don't jump a single time. But ultimately, I think it's fine. But the problem is, and I said this before, you kind of have to, all these companies, specifically the big three, they have to respect EA. And the reason is because they have a stranglehold on sports games. I can't think of any other company that actually makes sports games.
EA snatched up all the licenses. They were fucking well, not really a monopoly, but
well, they have a monopoly on the licenses, but they don't have a monopoly on sports games. Anybody can still make sports games. It's just you're gonna have to make a sports game with I guess a football game with Gret Farb and Ronovan McNabb and
stop it.
Who used to make Blitz?
Don Badden.
Blitz was
That was what do they call it? What was that one company
THQ,
that died?
yeah,
THQ.
THQ. Damn.
fucking rep in peace.
I could play another Blitz game.
Well, THQ isn't dead anymore now.
What?
Kinda dead.
Yeah, THQ. No, they have another company. It's called THQ Nordic.
And they sold a lot of their IPs.
They sold a lot of their IPs, but they still have like Darksiders and a few others.
Great.
But yes, Hawkwing. I'm thinking it's the right one. No, Hawkwing. They don't have the Aki engine.
Damn.
The Aki engine is still missing. If anyone finds the Aki engine, please call 1-800-HELP-AKI. We've been trying to find him for more than 20 years. We need
Japanese
the Aki
game
engine back.
developer has the Aki engine, but like he's like super esoteric and he only develops N64 bootleg games.
You're probably right, and that's terrible. Maybe we'll be able to get it with a new Def Jam game.
Please stop.
I want to move over to. I wish I was a slider. I wish I was a slider so that I could jump over to the universe where they still have Def Jam games, and the Def Jam games are running on the Aki engine, and they're great.
You didn't buy Icon, so you don't deserve another Def Jam game. Gross.
I guess you're right. I'll just go to sleep. You know what else we don't deserve?
Fun?
Yes, according to Microsoft. So I want to talk about this just because. So recently somebody, after all the cancellations that happened with with Scalebound, Phantom Dust, I mean Phantom Dust is not that recent, but with Scalebound, and the fact that they're saying that Crackdown is fine. Somebody came out and they were like, "Hey, are we going to get a new Halo in time for the Scorpio?" And according to Microsoft, no, not at launch. So, I'm just wondering what's up with Microsoft lately? Are they giving up on consoles now?
They're not giving up on consoles. They're just incompetent.
Well, yeah, but it's like they're incompetent with the most money. I don't know what's going on.
Money. I believe the most money is still Nintendo.
Yeah.
Look, Nintendo can fucking blow money on stupid decisions and on R&D for consoles every 5 years, as opposed to the other companies where every 10 years. Nintendo has been around for over a century. Nintendo has plenty of money. They did gangbusters with the Wii. They just like
Nintendo
they have so much money that they can just blow it.
Money siphoning scheme.
Do you know what one of their first? Have you ever seen those Japanese animes where they have the people sitting and then they're looking at the cards and they slap the cards out of the way whenever somebody says a word? Yeah, Nintendo developed cards like that. They made Hanafuda cards. That was one of their original ventures.
Microsoft, the company, does have a lot of money, but the Xbox brand isn't like the Xbox brand itself. Isn't like that valuable compared to Sony and Nintendo. So.
That's arguable. It's not as valuable in Japan. Microsoft has never been popular in Japan, except for that one year where they got all those JRPGs. But then again, it's like the next 2 years, all those JRPGs came out as better versions on other consoles. So, I mean, but Phil Spencer, I think it is. He's the big guy over at Microsoft, right?
Right.
Phil Spencer, he said that Crackdown 3 is fine, and everybody's actually still worried about that. And with the fact that Scalebound was canceled, and another funny story I actually just remembered. Gears of War is actually being sued.
By who?
What did they do?
So you guys know the character Dom, right? The black guy.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, an ex-football player was actually sitting on his couch one day, watching his son play the game, and then he was like, "Hey, wait a minute, this character is me." And hang on. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's dumb, right? But here's the funny thing. If you actually take the image of this football player and the image of Dom and put them next to each other, they do look very similar. And here's another thing. The original person who was working on the Gears of War storyline also contacted that football player and asked him, "Hey man, I've got this idea for this video game. Do you want to be in?" Oh no, wait, I'm sorry. I keep saying football player. I just remembered he was a professional wrestler. Yeah. So he asked him. He said, "Hey man, do you want to be in this game? I want to put you in this game. I want you to do voice acting and whatnot." Apparently, he said no, and the reason was because I don't want to be in a violent video game. Being a wrestler. But there was another weird part about it. Also, is the fact that the professional wrestler took the sound from the game and went to a forensic voice analyzer, and the forensic voice analyzer said that the character's voice and his voice were identical.
I'm taking that with a fucking grain of salt. That's stupid. Either this nigga met his doppelganger.
He was playing 3D chess, yo. Man said, "All right, I can't have you, but I can have your clone, nigga."
So yes, the character looks like him, the character sounds like him, and he was even offered the role. So he is actually suing Microsoft. Taking that with a grain
of salt. See, this lawsuit is gonna fail for two reasons. Number one, first of all, it's not him, it's not his voice, even though somebody can say, "Oh, it sounds just like you, man." It's not his voice, it's not his face. Even if it was his face, you are actually protected under copyright law in the US to make something that looks exactly like somebody, as long as you're not saying that it's that person. When you're making games, movies, etc., you can do that. Cartoons, you're protected under your First Amendment rights. Number two, dude who's suing them is gonna die because he met his doppelganger clearly, and it's gonna kill him.
Yes. The game is going to kill him? Ooh, I didn't know that this was Rings 2017.
It's fine as long as he makes two other people play the game.
I don't think anybody wants to play Gears of War anymore. I heard that the latest Gears of War has been upsetting a lot of people.
I've heard the opposite. So, I've heard that that Gears of War 4 is like the best one they've had since 2.
Well, no, that's the thing. In terms of gameplay, yes, but it's littered with microtransactions.
Yeah.
But then again, everything has microtransactions now. Like the microtransaction we're putting in this video. So if you want to continue to watch more of these podcasts, please pay for the Felix add-on pack, which is $2.99. The Hawkeyes the Brave add-on pack, which is $149. And the Akuma Soul add-on pack, which is $35.50.
There's been like 17 video unskippable ads so far.
So I don't have anything else to say. I think I'm done. What about you, Hawkeyes the Final Brave?
I mean, there's one more thing we've neglected to talk about, and if anybody here plays Overwatch, I don't know anybody in this group who plays Overwatch, but
yeah, who would play
one of
Overwatch
Blizzard's developers recently came out because he's responding to people who really hate the PTR nerfs.
Yeah, so I play a moderate amount of Overwatch. I wouldn't say that I play it too much. Just the average amount. I'm definitely not playing it. I'm definitely not playing it right now while we're recording. But they're nerfing Diva. They're nerfing Diva, and I just wanted to talk about this because Felix mentioned before how he feels about Blizzard's nerfing and buffing convention. The reason that supposedly this guy said that they're going to nerf Diva is because she's used a lot. in the game. She's the third most picked character, so they want to nerf her. They're also saying that she has no credible counter picks. So that's their idea of why they're gonna nerf her.
Blizzard's balanced philosophy has always been they nerf shit that's like high skill, high reward. They nerf things that people use a lot, but they don't understand why people are using them. Like instead of like, oh, maybe people are using Diva a lot because other tank type characters aren't as good as her. They're like, no, we should just fucking knock her down a peg instead of bringing those other characters up. Which I think is just like, they do it in all their games. They do it in StarCraft, they did it in World of Warcraft, they do it in Hearthstone, they did it in Heroes of the Storm, now they're doing it in Overwatch. So
I mean, it's not really a big surprise. What ultimately I think, and I'll say this every time, if they're going to buff anybody, I think Pharah requires one thing, and that is when she's in the air, if you press crouch, you should be able to just slam directly downward, like in a straight line to the ground, and that would save her from so many deaths.
I think she just needs a fucking horizontal boost.
A horizontal boost?
Yes. Horizontal
like a
boost.
dash?
Like Armored
like
Core.
a dash.
It doesn't sound as cool as boost.
Down. Or an overed boost. Stop
or
it.
Overwatch boost.
Stop it.
Oh.
But, I mean, we pretty much covered our bases this week. Next week, if the world isn't over, because of the Antifas, what the Antifas?
The what?
Anti-fascists.
What is that?
You know, the resistance, the people burning down, burning lemons. Let's not get into that. Anyways, this has been the Otaku Clubhouse cast, and see you guys next week.